tell, but I have had a couple of cries today. Don't worry, nothing is wrong. It's just a bit of an emotional time. And, I really wanted to make a video today, and I had this whole idea for what I wanted it to be about. But the truth is, even though the concept of that video is a really cool idea and a really cool concept, I want to be real with these videos. And today I'm not really feeling 100%. And because of that, it makes me want to talk about something that I think is really, really important. We are taught at such a young age that crying is not something that we should be doing in public. It is not something that we should be sharing with people. It is not something that we should really even spend too much time doing. Of course, I'm not saying that it's a good thing to dwell in the negative thoughts that are creating the tears for you, but sometimes you just have to let yourself feel what you're feeling. I feel like when we were little and we'd start crying, like say if we were out in public and something happened and we started crying, our parents would so often use lines like, "Oh, cheer up, don't be silly, stop whinging, don't make a scene." And those words actually stuck with us. I think that words like that really shape who we've become. One of the worst feelings for me is when I feel like I need to cry and I can't. Not so much like my body won't let me cry, but I don't really feel like I'm allowed to cry because of the circumstance that I'm in, like being at work or being out and about or being at the grocery store or being at a party. And when we're feeling all of this emotion and we say to ourselves, "No, don't, stop, you're not allowed, don't do it, not now, this is not the time," we stop ourselves from feeling what we need to feel in that moment. And that in turn creates sort of a build-up of emotion that I feel that when it is finally released, sometimes it's not always the healthiest way. I think a lot of today's problems comes from this idea that we need to hold on to all of our emotions and that we're not allowed to release them in public. Personally, I think a lot of guys have it a lot harder than we do as girls, simply because we use silly phrases to guys like "man up, don't be a girl," which is also very sexist to women. And why should guys not be allowed to cry or express their emotions or get sensitive? I think it's a very damaging thing to do to someone, to anyone, to say, "Don't cry, stop it, you can hold it in," or "it's not that bad." Any of these kind of statements that invalidate the way that somebody's feeling, I think is a really unhealthy way of trying to make anybody feel better. We all have this inner child, right? It's the 5-year-old, 3-year-old version of ourselves inside us. All that inner child wants is to be loved, cared for, validated, and to live in a safe space. When we say to ourselves, "Don't cry, don't show them how we truly feel," I think one of the reasons that it hurts a lot is because that inner child inside us is literally saying, "But I'm here. I want to be acknowledged. I want you to feel what I'm feeling. I want you to validate me right now." And the more we ignore that inner child, the worse we're gonna feel. In my last couple of years of uni, I found this really hard. I actually went through a really tough time. My boyfriend and I got into a car accident, which resulted in him having to be in hospital for a while, and we won't go into that too much. But it was a very, very, very hard point of my life. And it made me very sad, and I cried a lot in that period. And I would go to uni and I would just feel awful. And I went from having lots and lots of friends to barely knowing anybody and not really wanting to have anything to do with anybody, because I felt so bad that I didn't want anybody else to feel how I felt. But this wasn't very healthy either, because doing this resulted in me having dreadful anxiety around people. I built up this whole idea that I was not allowed to cry around these people because it would make me seem weak. My university was a performing arts university. They would constantly say to us, like, every single day should feel like an audition. And because of this, there's a lot of competitive and judgmental attitudes, and more than anything, you just didn't want to come across weak to anybody. I think that a lot of people that went to the same uni as me, or maybe know me from uni, might be able to agree with that. You didn't want to show weakness at that place, and if you were like me and felt very weak inside, then the place was completely anxiety inducing. But we all do this so much every single day. We don't allow ourselves to truly feel what we need to feel. I want to give you some advice. I'm not just here to just talk about how much I want to preach crying is a good thing. If you are out and about and you feel the feelings of tears welling up, you don't know how to deal with it. Because there's been so many random awkward spots that I have chosen to cry at, and it has just made things very difficult. What I recommend doing is breathing. I know it's literally so simple and you're going to be like, yeah, I obviously already knew that. But if you can, just remove yourself from the situation that you're in, remove yourself from having to think really, and just go somewhere, sit and breathe and just allow. But that's a lot easier said than done. I worked as a waitress and a bartender in a restaurant for like 2 or 3 years, and some nights things would happen and emotion would come up, and the times that it felt so bad was when I didn't actually acknowledge how I was feeling. I just had all this emotion and tears and stuff here about the thoughts that I was having, but I wasn't truly acknowledging that, yeah, you know what? You've gone through a pretty tough time. That would make you feel sad. I think that's like one of the biggest components of this whole video. If you don't acknowledge with yourself how you're feeling, then you're gonna have a really tough time feeling better. Sometimes it's about just stepping back and being like, you know what? That was a really hard thing to go through. The way that I'm feeling right now is a completely normal and human reaction to what I went through. I need to just sit with this feeling for a minute and allow myself to truly just feel it in my body. And as I said in my self-doubt video, I think once you're able to really feel what the emotion is that you're feeling, you can sort of breathe into that emotion and see where it is in your body. It's not always the easiest thing to do that, I know, when you're out and about in public. But I think just being able to acknowledge with yourself, hey, I'm feeling a little bit anxious right now, or I'm feeling a little bit frustrated right now. Frustrated is a good one, actually. Yeah, I feel like we don't acknowledge that we're frustrated with something until it's a little bit too late and it ends up blowing up in a negative way. I just wanted to say, I think that crying is a good thing. I think it's a way of our body manifesting the emotions that we're feeling so that we are able to release them. And when we hold it all in and deny to ourselves how we're truly feeling, what we do is we create a really toxic space in here for ourselves to live in. I hope that my energy didn't just make everybody really sad by watching this. I've had so much nice feedback on the couple of videos that I've already posted, and some people who I haven't spoken to for years have reached out to me and told me that they really like what I'm doing and to keep doing it, and that makes me feel really good. So I just wanted to say thank you so much if you're watching this, and it truly means everything to me. Bye for now, and not forever. Is that trademark? Am I allowed to say that? I don't know.